y'all, and welcome back. I'm Ashley, and today I am sharing with you my February books that I want to read. I am so excited about this month's books. I feel like I have a pretty good spread between romance books and non-romance books, and I just am super excited about this month. I am doing a romance book bracket. If you watched last month's books that I wanted to read, I did the roll the dice. So this month I am doing a romance book bracket. I like to have some sort of fun activity to go along with my reading, just to make it more interesting to pick a new book and to go through my monthly books. So let's go ahead and jump into the synopsis of the books that I'm going to read this month, and then I will share more about my romance book bracket, so be sure to stay until the end. The first book that I am sharing today is one in a series. It is Second Chance Pass by Robin Carr. So this is in the Virgin River series, which I have talked at length about, and I'm excited to get to the next book. So this one is: in a space of a few months, Vanessa buried her husband, Matt, and gave birth to their son, breaking her heart while filling it with a whole new kind of love. But the one man she longs to share this love with now acts as if she doesn't exist. Paul Haggerty lives by the Marine motto Semper Fi. Ever faithful to his best friend, he's done right by Matt's widow as best as he can, considering he's been secretly in love with her for years. Now, just as he's about to make his move, another woman has staked her claim on him, a claim that will be tough to escape. With courage, humility, I don't know, that was so hard to say, and not a little meddling from a good folks in Virgin River, Vanny and Paul might just get a second chance to have the love they both deserve and desire. So that is Virgin River. I'm really excited to read this one. We've learned a little bit about Paul and Vanny in previous books, and so I'm excited to see where their story leads. So the next book up in my February reads is Feels Like Family by Cheryl Woods. Again, this is in the series. This is the Sweet Magnolia series, and both of these series are very love related, which is why I was super excited to jump back into them for this month. So this one is: Helen Decanter spent a lifetime setting goals, getting through college and law school, opening her own practice, becoming financially secure, and establishing herself as one of the most highly respected divorce attorneys in the state of South Carolina. Achieving those goals was a breeze compared to the ones she's faced with now. The most driven and cynical of the Sweet Magnolias, Helen is 42, single, and suddenly ready for the family she's put on the back burner for all of these years. Unfortunately, having a child at her age comes with a lot of complications, not the least of which is the absence of a serious relationship in her life. Handling so many divorces has left her skeptical about love, but Helen's not the type of woman to wait around for fate to step in. Taking charge of her own destiny puts her at odds with her two best friends and sets sparks flying with the man who claims he doesn't want a family, and nothing turns out like she planned. This one again is a really exciting one. It doesn't sound like it's going to be romance in this book, but I'm pretty sure that Helen is going to fall for the main character that they talk about in the back of the book. So I'm really excited. Also, just look at how romantic this cover feels. Doesn't it just feel super romantic? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I'm excited to get into this one too. Apparently, this books could also be called The Series, because yet another series we are diving into in Nobody But You, but Jill Chavez. Y'all know that Jill Chavez is one of my favorite romance, kind of steamy romance authors, and I'm excited to be jumping back into this one. This one is the Cedar Ridge series, and so I'm assuming this one's going to be about the last brother in the series, but we will see. So it's so Sophie Marin spent her entire life trying to please everyone, from her distant father to her demanding husband, nearly losing herself in the process. But after discovering she was the only one in their marriage to have taken their vows seriously, Sophie walks away with nothing except for the boat she got in the divorce settlement. Hardly the ideal living arrangements for a woman who gets seasick in a bathtub. She knows she should sell it, move, and leave the whole mess behind her. But Sophie loves living in tiny Cedar Ridge, Colorado, and she's not about to let anyone take that from her too, especially not the handsome, intense former soldier who keeps trying to kick her off the dock of his lakeside cabin. As much as she wants to tell Jacob Kincaid to stick it where the sun don't shine, she senses he's dealing with struggles of his own, and she can't help but be drawn in. But when the secrets from her past surface, will she be able to hold on to the life she's so carefully built? So it is about the last Kincaid brother, and I'm excited to get to read this one. This is not exactly what I imagined the area to look like from the description. I kind of imagined it a little bit more rustic than beachside, just because it is the mountains, like the setting is in the mountains in Colorado. So very interesting, but all the same, I'm excited to get into this one. The next book up is my attempt to get into Colleen Hoover. I have never read a Colleen Hoover book, but I did pick this one up at the used bookstore, I believe. And so I'm going to attempt to read All Your Perfects. I'm not sure that I'm going to get through it from glancing at the description, but here we go. I will try it this month, so we will see. So here is the description. Then, the last thing Quinn expected was to meet the love of her life just outside her fiance's front door. A year after leaving behind their cheating partners, Quinn and Graham are in the perfect relationship that seems destined by fate. Now, 7 years later, their perfect love is threatened by their imperfect marriage. The memories, mistakes, and dreams that they have built up over the years are tearing them apart. The one thing that could save them might also be the very thing that pushes their marriage past the point of no return. Written as the same emotional depth and keen insight that make Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us and Ugly Love instant New York Times bestsellers, All Your Perfects is a powerfully moving story about a broken couple whose future hinges on promises made in the past, remembering us that the enduring power of love is the ultimate savior. So, you can't really tell, I feel like, very much, other than there's going to be some like brokenness to this. So we will just see. Some books just are not quite for me based on their subject matter. And I don't know if this is going to be one or not, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm going to attempt to read this month. The next book is by a fast favorite, and that is Christina Lauren, The Honey Don't List. I'm super excited. I have loved both books that I've read by Christina Lauren and can't wait to get into this one. So it is, Carrie Duncan has worked from home remodeling and designing guru Melissa and Rusty Tripp for decades. A country girl at heart, Carrie started in their first store at 16 and, more than anyone would suspect, has helped them build an empire. With a new show and a book about to launch, the Tripps are on the verge of superstardom. There's only one problem. America's favorite couple can't stand each other. James McCain, MIT graduate, an engineering genius, was originally hired as a structural engineer, but the job isn't as all what he thought it would be. The last straw, both he and Carrie must go on the book tour with the Tripps and keep the wheels from falling off the proverbial bus. Unfortunately, neither of them is in any position to quit. Carrie needs health care insurance, and James has been promised the role of a lifetime if he can keep the couple on tracks for a few more weeks. While road tripping with the Tripps up the West Coast, Carrie and James vow to work together to keep their boss's secrets hidden and their own jobs secure. But if they stop playing along and start playing for keeps, they may have a chance to build something beautiful together. So this is not it at all, but I feel like if you took the Tripps instead of I feel like this could be Chip and Joanna Gaines if you took them and put them like in a little bit more of like argumentative setting. Like I feel like that's how it's gonna be. I don't know, so we'll see, but that's just the vibes that I get from it. Like a not very healthy relationship, Chip and Joanna Gaines type of situation. So we'll see. But again, I'm excited to read this book. I've loved the other two that I've read by Christina Lauren, and I suspect this one will be the same. So moving out of the romances, I'm actually picking this book up this month because I rented the audiobook from the library for driving back and forth to work or to anywhere that I have to go for longer than like 10 minutes. I like to listen to audiobooks. So the audiobook has become available and I've decided to read it this month. And that book is Apples Never Fall by Leanne Moriarty. This book is: if your mother was missing, would you tell the police, even if the most obvious suspect was your father? This is the dilemma facing the four grown Delaney siblings. The Delaneys are fixtures in the community. The parents, Stan and Joy, are the envy of all of their friends. They're killers on the tennis court, and off it, their chemistry is palpable. But after 50 years of marriage, they finally sold their famed tennis academy and are ready to start what should be the golden years of their lives. So why are Stan and Joy so miserable? The four Delaney children, Amy, Logan, Troy, and Brooke, are tennis stars in their own right, yet as their father will tell you, none of them had what it took to go all the way. But that's okay. Now they're all successful grown-ups, and there is a wonderful possibility of grandchildren on the horizon. One night, a stranger named Savannah knocks on Stan and Joy's door, bleeding after a fight with her boyfriend. The Delaneys are more than happy to give her the small kindness she sorely needs. If only that was all she wanted. Later, when Joy goes missing and Savannah is nowhere to be found, the police question the one person who remains, Stan. But for someone who claims to be innocent, he, like most spouses, seems to have a lot to hide. Two of the Delaney children think that their father is innocent. Two are not so sure. But as the two sides square off against each other in perhaps the biggest match ever, all of the Delaneys will start to re-examine their shared family history in a very new light. So this sounds super interesting. Honestly, it's kind of giving me vibes of the most recent book that I read about family. Sherry Lupina's book, Not a Happy Family. For some reason, it's giving me those vibes. I think because the children are on opposite sides of each other, which is much like how Not a Happy Family was. They were all kind of pitted against each other for different reasons though. So this one sounds very interesting, and I've loved Leanne Moriarty's other books that I have read, so I'm happy to finally get into this one. This is going to be a little bit of a longer book compared to the other ones, but usually her books are very captivating, so I'm excited to read this one. And last but not least, I am again attempting to read The Hunting Party. I gave you an update in my chat with me, my January book update, that Monica and I were going to read The Hunting Party together, and so she has finally requested it from the library, so we should be starting this one relatively soon. So I'm hoping that we will be able to get to this in this month, as I really wanted to read it when it was cold and possibly snowy, just for the atmosphere. So if you would like to hear about this book, don't forget to check out my January books that I wanted to read to hear more about The Hunting Party. So now that I have gotten through all of the books that I want to read in February, I wanted to share a little bit more about my book bracket, my romance book bracket, and I'm really excited about this. So I set them up for only judging 4 of the books because I wasn't really sure about Colleen Hoover's book, just more about the subject matter, that it was a little bit of a different romance, and being the first time of reading Colleen Hoover, I didn't want to judge the book against other books based on the fact that I might just not like her writing. So I have left that one out, but I will be judging Feels Like Family, Second Chance Pass, Nobody But You, and the honey don't list all against each other. And here is my bracket that I'm going to be doing. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram in order to check out my progress and see what I am thinking of the books that I'm reading and which book ends up winning the bracket. I'm really excited. I don't know how this is going to go because each of these authors have a very different writing style and a very different romance style. So we'll see, but I figured this was a fun way to just kind of judge romance books and figure them out and just have fun with my reading list for this month. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have maybe found a romance book that you might like to try to pick up for the month for Valentine's Day, and I will see y'all again in my next video. Bye guys.